All right, anytime you're ready.
Oh, I knew it.
There it is.
I knew it.
You said it was going to tear the tarps down.
Nope, thank God I had springs on it.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Rick.
And I'm Tim.
And this is Two Brothers Outdoors.
The complete, not just one half.
Somebody has to work.
Some are retired. Too much time on their hands.
All right, guys. So fortunately, yesterday we were able to get 4 cherry logs out of the woods because Crafter's shed is looking pretty slim right now. So anyway, we're going to cut those 4 cherries up this morning. But first, before we do that, we are going to check the tension on Tim's blade. There's a recommended tensile tension of 20 to 24,000 PSI on this blade. And Hud-son has this torque to 35 foot-pounds. We're going to check that to make sure it's within the actual spec of what Wood-Mizer blades wants their blades tension to. So you can buy a tension gauge for
$350.
350 bucks basically, or you can use a dial indicator and use a formula to convert the thousandths of travel of the blade stretching. I will give that to you in just a minute. Alright guys, so I got this set up. I got a C-clamp here, and then this piece of steel that the dial indicator is hooked to. And then the dial indicator is against this piece of steel right here. Now, the important part about this formula is from this point right here, where you see this black line, to this point right here is 17 inches. And that's going to be an important part of the formula. Now, I took the screw right here, the tensioning screw, and I screwed it by hand to take the slack out of the blade. And believe it or not, well, we got almost the same exact mills, but I had it set up for mine yesterday, and as soon as I tightened up his screw by hand, I ended up with 0, just like on mine. All right, so all we're going to do, I've already worked this formula out ahead of time, but I will show you how to do it. We want this to land about 15 thousandths. That's going to put us right at the high end of the between 20 and 24,000 PSI. So we're going to tighten this up with a torque wrench. Until we hit 15 thousandths. All right, here we go. All right, there's 10 thousandths right there. That's 15 thousandths, right on the money. Now, that blade is tensioned right now to about 24,000 PSI, according to the formula that I pretty much got off the internet. It's called Young's Module. Okay, so basically what I did right now is I adjusted Tim's torque wrench, and we're hoping to get a click before this goes any higher. I'm getting a click right there. I'm going to adjust it up just a little bit more. Okay. So that right there is about 15 thousandths on the gauge, which should put us right in that range where we should be. So what you do is you take the number on here, which is 15 thousandths, and you divide that by 17 inches from here to here. And then the number you come up with, you multiply that times 29 million, and that'll give you the PSI that this blade is under tension. And supposedly that's the formula you use. If I'm wrong, somebody please put it in the comment section and clarify it for me. But right now we're going to try this at this tension and see what happens. All right, guys. So we have the tensile PSI at about 24,500, which is a little bit high, but torque at 35 foot-pounds threw it way up there in the 40,000, 45,000 range. So we're going to try it here, see how it cuts, and see if it cuts waves. If it does, we'll tighten it up and revisit this formula. Don't forget to put your guide back in. Does not need to be that far out.
Yeah, we're not super slobbing today.
No, all we're doing is cutting up a cherry log.
This seems to be working pretty good.
Yeah, I worked with that formula all day yesterday, trying to figure out. I watched more videos.
You see that snow come off the Paul and Andy's sawmill shed?
Yeah, I saw it. So anyway, if I'm wrong on that formula, let me know. Because right now, this blade is nowhere near as tight as they suggested to be with the torque wrench anyway. It's about half of what it was. We'll be able to tell when we get on some knotty wood. So yeah, it's cutting flat. Taking the sawdust off of there good.
Yeah. The blade, that's a new blade, or custom blade.
That's all right? Yeah. Nice and flat.
It's a frozen cherry.
I don't think this was frozen because it was alive.
It's frozen.
It's alive.
It's frozen. Believe me, I know what a frozen log feels like.
You're frozen. You can't see me right now because I'm out back taking the offcuts back to the offcut pile. Seems to be like 300 yards behind the mill right now. And it's snowing again. We're supposed to have a high of about 12 tomorrow. Joy, joy. I think it's one of your bearings. A little burn. Give me some oil.
Okay.
Give me some oil.
He's like, what the heck is this noise? Oh, he's okay.
Probably is, but we're going to hit them both. All right, give it a minute for the oil to soak in. Then you'll hurt it. All right, try it now. Shut it down.
Catch attention.
Now it's warmed up. Well, I ran it before we did it, so.
So it stretched a little bit.
Tiny bit. Made a little bit of difference, but not much.
Hey, seemed like it's cutting all right.
All right. So it looks like it's cutting all right. I'm going to scrape these off and see if we have any waves, which would be an indication the blade is not tight enough. Meanwhile, I'm going to make a quick call to a couple of rocket scientists here.
Andy and Paul.
Tim knows who they are. Andy and Paul at Southern Adirondack Outdoors.
They are our buds.
They are pretty smart guys, and if there's a math formula out there, and if I got it wrong, I think Andy and Paul both are pretty smart guys.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's see if I can get an answer here.
Grab that sign real quick, will you? Make sure you let them know they're being videotaped.
Hello,
Andrew,
what's going on?
how you doing?
Pretty good.
You are being videotaped, by the way.
This conversation is being videotaped, by the way.
All right.
Only because we need a rocket scientist, and you and Paul are about the smartest people we know. Okay, so I'm going to give you a problem of what we're doing, and then I'm going to hang up and let you see if you can figure it out. Now, Hud-son has us tensioning the blade at 35 foot-pounds on a torque wrench on the tensioning screw.
Okay.
And without buying a tensioning gauge, which are too expensive, I used a dial indicator and I made a piece of metal that we can clamp on the blade to check the stretch. So the distance between the two pinch points on the blade where I have it hooked to the blade is 17 inches. And we're traveling on the dial indicator at 15 thousandths of an inch. And according to the formula that I got, which is Young's module, is what it's called, it's coming out to be about 25,000 PSI, give or take a few pounds. Now, Young's module is, I want to make sure I got the formula right. The formula that I gathered from watching about 15 videos yesterday was that you take the travel on the dial indicator, which at this one is 15 thousandths. You divide that by the distance where it's pinched on the blade, which is 17 inches, and multiply that times 29 million, and that should give you your tensile, your PSI on the blade. Are you with me so far?
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
Okay, it's called Young's module, but if you go to Young's module on the internet, you got to be an Einstein to figure it out.
Or Andy or Paul.
And I just want to make sure I have the formula correct, because if I have the formula correct, the 35 foot-pounds is way too much. That puts the blade at about 45 thousandths 45,000 psi.
Okay.
So basically the formula that I came up with by watching 100 videos was that you take the distance of the pinch points and you divide the travel of the dial indicator by that amount, multiply that times 29 million, and that'll give you the poundage on the blade. I just want to make sure that formula is correct.
I'll have to look at it. This may be way out of my math skills.
How is it measured on their mill? Or L15?
Yeah, how do you measure it on your
L15.
LT15?
There's actually no gauge or anything. All we do is there's a squish point. When you rotate the handle up to put the tension on, they have a little plastic gauge, and you just line that up with the
Okay, it's
end of a bolt, actually.
pretty much like Hud-son with the torque wrench. All right, so I'm just going to throw that out there and let you look at it and see what you can come up with. I mean, if you go on YouTube, you can find plenty of mathematicians on there that are doing this, but you want to shoot the TV because it's like they just get way too much into depth. I just want the simple calculation, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
How much it came out on mine?
I just did.
Oh, 10.
So anyway, yeah, just play with that, see what you can come up with, see if that formula sounds correct to you, and we'll go from there.
I'll see if I can figure it out. My math skills are weak, so I'll see if Paul's can get a grip on it.
Well, sometimes your ability to comprehend what you're reading is better than mine, probably.
All right, I'll take a look.
All right, thanks, Andy. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, let's get this scraped off. We're going to check out the cut and make sure there's no waves. Looks good. And we'll get back with you in a minute, guys. All right, guys, that wood came out beautiful. And there's no waves in the wood. The blade seems to be cutting very well. Now, we heard a little squeaking noise, which was actually sounding like a bearing. It was dry. And what that was is this backer bearing behind the blade right here. They're sealed bearings, and yeah, you can leave in the comments, buy a better bearing. Those are Timco bearings.
Yep.
And the coolant still gets by the seal on that bearing. And what happens is if you don't put a couple drops of oil on it occasionally, they get dry from the coolant, and then they'll start making noise. And if you catch it soon enough, you can save it.
Yeah, we've took the caps off, tried packing with grease and everything.
Yeah, and no, it doesn't work. Just a couple drops of oil on it keeps it viable for the longest time. All right, guys, that will conclude this log. We only got 3 more to do, and then the wide one, and then we're going to put this stuff in the box. All right, guys, so we got somebody checking that formula out for us, and like I said, if you're a math whiz and I got the formula wrong, please let us know. Other than that, these blades aren't going to be tensioned at 35 foot-pounds anymore because that's way too much. Hey guys, thanks for coming along. See you later.
Come on now.